Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. I hope you're doing well. I came back from holiday yesterday. I had this journey from hell getting from Lithuania to back to where I live. No, it wasn't a pleasant trip. I got in about 10:30 at night. And I've spent today, actually it's now, I'm recording this in the early hours of Saturday, but I spent Friday going through all the stuff I'd missed, because when I go on holiday, I've got my phone, I take my tablet with me occasionally, but I try not to I'm doing other things, I'm in a foreign country, I might as well be on Mars, so I'm not really keeping up with everything. In the evening, I may make a few videos or I'll do a bit of reading, but there's plenty that I miss simply because I've got my mind on other things. And so I've been playing catch up with all the boxing results, also stuff that I missed. I watched a card from America that was on DAZN. But one of the things that really struck me, one of the things that sprang out and hit me was that TONY YOKA fought in Swindon while I was away in Lithuania. And he scored a second round knockout over a guy with a losing record. And prior to that, that wasn't the first time he'd fought in Britain, because prior to that, he fought Buschetta, I can't remember the guy's first name, knocked him out in 4 rounds. I want to say it was in the West Midlands somewhere. I could be wrong about that. But anyway, the point is that in the last 2.5 months, he scored 2 victories in Britain by stoppage. And this comes on the back of, back in 2023, he had an absolutely disastrous 2023 because he had 2 fights, one against Carlos Takam, who's ancient, and he lost a split decision, which should have been unanimous. He then had another split decision loss over 10 rounds. Both those fights were 10 rounds. That was to a cruiserweight, Riyad Mary. And prior to those 2 fights in 2022, he lost a majority decision, which again should have been absolutely unanimous, against Martin Bakole. I've done it too bad considering what Martin Bakole did to Jared Anderson, but he went the distance. But the point is that he was, even though he's an Olympic gold medalist, as far as in France is concerned, he's a busted flush. He's finished, absolutely finished. And he also a few years ago failed a PED test, and it kind of showed when he came back. But did he fail no, he didn't fail a PED test, or did he? I think he refused to take a test or something like that. But he was banned for a year, I think it was. And when he came back, he looked like a different guy in terms of power and stamina and so on, and punch output. And it looked like he'd been busted in one form or other. And he served the ban. He came back. He lost those 3 fights in a row. Completely shattered career. Olympic gold medalist, but everyone in France dismissed him. So what did he do? He's come to England, and I believe he's being trained by what's the guy's name? Don Charles. Yeah. What a strange thing, though. I mean, the guy is only 32, TONY YOKA, which is not old for a heavyweight. Being trained by Don Charles, and he's now living in Britain, or I think he's living in Britain anyway. And here's the thing. I then read, after reading about this victory scored in Swindon against this journeyman who I'd never heard of, I then discover Frank Warren has signed him. I think it was only revealed yesterday. I was, going through it. So Frank Warren, he loves the heavyweight, doesn't he? Old Frank. I mean, Christ almighty, he's signing up heavyweights like they're going out of fashion. But why has he signed him? Because he wants to put him in with the guy who Yoka controversially beat in the Olympic final, JOE JOYCE. Now, I, like most other people I've spoken to, in fact, I'm talking probably 90% of the people I've spoken to, believe that Joyce won that fight. I thought it was a terrible decision. Joyce deserved the gold medal. Poor old JOE JOYCE, he just can't get the rub of the green, can he? But he himself is coming off a defeat to the ancient Derek Chisora. In fact, Joe's lost 3 of his last 4 because he had those 2 stoppage defeats. One of them was an absolute clean knockout by Zhilei Zhang. So, and he's, what's he, 39 now, pushing 39? So he's much older than TONY YOKA. But of course, Frank Warren, who knows what he's doing, when it comes to promoting, because he's been around for bloody decades. In his 70s now, I think, Frank. What's he going to do? He's going to match two guys who are considered damaged goods within the industry in a rematch of that Olympic final. And I think that's the sort of thing that will sell, I think, because you've got the Brit who know Joe Joyce. They know him very well. Joyce has a bit of an international name, even if people only know him for getting knocked out twice by Zhilei Zhang. And the fight with Chisora, I mean, it was a great fight, whatever you think of them. They're both, Chisora is 40. Joyce is close to it. But they provided a great fight, as fighters very often, when you've got two fighters who are past their best, they come together. It's a great fight if the styles gel. The obvious historical example is the third Muhammad Ali-Joe Frazier fight. Not that I'm comparing Joe Joyce and Chisora to Muhammad Ali or Joe Frazier, don't get me wrong. But the styles meshed beautifully. So if you put Joyce in with Yoka, yeah, what a good matchup. I mean, that is intriguing. Yeah, I know what you're going to say. I know a lot of you are going to say, they're both past it. Yeah, they are. I mean, I get it. But if they're going to move forward, if either of them is to sort of cling to the sort of remnants of their careers, their shattered careers, a win against one or the other for one or the other would be it would keep them maybe not relevant on the the title chasing stage, but it would give them perhaps another few paydays. And although I think Joyce, I mean, off the cuff, I'm not going to make a total prediction, but I would pick Joyce to beat Yoka, probably to stop him, even though he's lost 3 of his last 4. Nevertheless, you consider Yoka, like I say, 6'7", biggish lad, 82-inch reach, only 32. He's only had 16 fights, by the way, Yoka. 13-3 is, with 11 KOs. And although you can throw out these 2 recent journeyman knockout victories, stoppage victories, could he outbox Joyce? Yeah, Joyce can be outboxed, but Joyce is still a come-forward juggernaut type of guy. I know he was on the floor against Chisora, but he almost had Derek out of there in that same round until Derek landed that big looping punch that he always bloody does. Oh, he's incredible, isn't he, Derek? But yeah, I think Yoka versus Joyce is an intriguing matchup. I can't deny it. And Frank, old Uncle Frank, he's a crafty old sod, isn't he? He's doing he knows that heavyweights garner ticket sales. They get bums on seats, eyes on the ring, and I think this is a very intriguing matchup that I think would sell. I don't know where they're going to put it. I don't know I don't know whether they've got a venue for it yet. But I did read. Where did I read that they were going to put it? Because I read an article on Boxing News. That's where I read that Warren had signed Yoka. But I don't know whether they'll probably stick it on, I don't know, maybe the O2, stack the card. I don't know. I'm only guessing. But yeah, what do you think? Would you watch this fight? I mean, it would probably be a 10-rounder, I'd imagine. And it's kind of like last chance saloon for both guys, I suppose. Would the loser have anywhere else to go? Probably not. But let me know what you think about this matchup. Let me know if you're intrigued by it or if you think it's a load of rubbish. You might think, both finished, forget it, Tell me what you think. And I'll read your comments and I'll answer as many as I can. Thank you, as always, for your time. Please subscribe to the channel if you're new and hit the old like button, because it's the algorithms and all that shit. Well, I don't know what that word means, but, they count the likes. So please support the channel. Much love to you. And thank you very much. Catch you later. Bye for now.